This is the story of the Nigerian chess master who broke the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon, having played for 64 hours alongside US National Master Shaun Martinez. Please subscribe, like, and turn on your notifications. Your support keeps us going. It all began in a barbershop nestled within the slums of Ikorodu, Lagos, Nigeria. A young boy was introduced to a game he didn't yet understand. He saw men battling themselves on the 64 squares of the board in a room filled with the buzz of clippers. But in the quiet clash of pawns and knights, he saw something that pulled him in. That boy was Tunde Onakoya. And the game was chess. He didn't learn the game in a classroom. There were no instructors, no grandmasters. Just a child with curiosity, watching, mimicking, learning, until one day, he played the game, and that day marked the beginning of something bigger than he could ever have imagined. Tunde Onakoya was born in the mid-1990s in Ikorodu, one of the many rough-edged neighborhoods in Lagos. His family didn't have much. In fact, for a long time, they didn't have enough. Financial hardship was a daily reality, and education was a luxury they couldn't always afford. At one point, Tunde dropped out of school to help his mother support the family. But his mother believed in something greater. She got a job as a cleaner in a private school, just so her son could study. That small act of sacrifice opened a new chapter. It was at that school that Tunde officially joined a chess club. In that space, he began to sharpen his mind and carve out a path that would lead him far beyond the confines of his neighborhood. As Tunde rose through the local chess scene, his talent became undeniable. Tournament after tournament, he made his mark. Eventually, he earned a FIDE rating of 2,197, a few points shy of the minimum to qualify for the title of Candidate Master, CM. But for Tunde, the game was never just about titles. Chess was a tool, a metaphor, a weapon in a grand mission. Tunde knew what it meant to be overlooked. He knew what it felt like to have potential but no opportunity. So he decided to create what he once lacked, a pathway, not for himself, but for kids just like him. In 2018, he founded Chess in Slums, Africa, a non-profit committed to helping underprivileged children find education, confidence, and self-worth through the game of chess. It began with one board, one child, one lesson at a time. However, it quickly evolved into a movement that would garner national attention and international acclaim. The impact was profound. Children who had never stepped inside a classroom were learning not just to play, but to think critically, solve problems, and believe in their own capacity. Many went on to earn scholarships. Some began formal schooling. Others discovered the joy of being seen. But what Tunde was building wasn't just a chess program. It was an ecosystem of hope. It was about giving these children more than just pieces on a board. It was about giving them an identity and a sense of community, along with the audacity to dream. In April 2024, Tunde stepped onto the world stage. Times Square, New York City. Amid flashing billboards and roaring crowds, he set out to break the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon, playing for 60 straight hours with Shaun Martinez. However, this wasn't about titles or headlines. This effort aimed to raise $1 million to support education for African children. The world watched as he played through pain and fatigue, refusing to back down. It was a grueling test of endurance, but also a masterclass in purpose. Behind every move was a message. These children matter. Celebrities, athletes, politicians, and individuals, great and simple, all rallied behind him. Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo voiced his support. Music stars like Davido and Adekunle Gold amplified the cause. Social media erupted in solidarity. For once, the spotlight wasn't on chaos or corruption. It was on a young Nigerian man who dared to dream out loud. However, perhaps the most beautiful part of Tunde's story is not what he has achieved personally, but the lives he has impacted, elevated along the way. In 2025, he led 5 children from the slums of Lagos to the 12th Chess and Community Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. For many, it was their first time on a plane. For all, it was proof that dreams can travel far. And these weren't just any children. Their stories were heavy with pain, but also burning with possibility. For Ferdinand, a boy born with cerebral palsy, who was often mocked and sidelined, the child of a poor fisherman in the world's largest floating slum, chess gave him hope, and he raised his head high. But when he plays chess, everything stops. He commands the board with confidence. Also Mary, whose village was attacked by Boko Haram. She survived the trauma of a terrorist attack and was abandoned in an IDP camp. From a place where dreams are buried, she rose and found hers again. For Mabel, a young lady full of light who first met Tunde 7 years ago in the slums of Ikorodu. She had the spark, but no school. Today, she is a fierce chess queen with ambitions of becoming a doctor. Jamiu, abandoned by his father, is forced to watch his mother die in Tunde's arms, homeless, grieving, but unbeaten. Today, he ranks among Nigeria's top players for his age. These are not fairy tales. These are life-reclaiming narratives, forged through resilience and belief. So leave a heart for these kids in the comments. As Tunde wrote in a heartfelt message before they departed for the competition, typing these words fills my eyes with tears, because I know their stories. They have braved all odds to be here. To the kids, play with heart, walk with pride. The dreams of many others fly with you today, not as a burden, but as light. You are becoming the kind of story the world cannot ignore. One Twitter user captured it best. He found these kids in a slum, taught them chess, and now they're in America, competing with kids from privilege. This is what happens when you believe in people. And indeed, belief is what Tunde has always carried. Belief that brilliance is not limited by zip code, but that every child deserves a chance to dream, and that sometimes the slightest spark can light up the world. Fortunately, young Ferdinand, who lives with cerebral palsy, defeated a highly rated USCF player in a thrilling encounter to secure the match point in round 2. Jamiu won gold as the best player in the chess tournament, along with a $500 scholarship for his inspiring essay and speech on global citizenship. Now, Tunde did something really interesting. He broke the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon with the kids. Let's go back to where we got here. On April 17th, 2024, Tunde took a bold step by attempting to break the Guinness World Record for the longest chess marathon in the heart of Times Square, New York City. The goal was to play for 58 hours, and he did it. However, barely 2 months later, in June, 2 Norwegian players, Odin Blikravea and Askild Bryn, broke the record by playing for 61 hours, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Exactly 1 year later, after Tunde's first attempt, he set out on April 17th to break the record for the longest chess marathon, and again in the heart of New York. But this time, he had the kids he brought from the slum with him. In his own words, he said, "There is a new world record for 61 hours set by 2 Norwegian players. On April 17th, we will attempt to break that record and place a new one for 70 hours. My dream is to inspire the world and raise support to build the biggest free school for homeless children in Nigeria." Tunde's bones were weak, but they cracked for something more than him. If there was any time during the attempt that I almost gave up, it was in the 50th hour. I had started hallucinating. My body was breaking and my bronchitis got worse. But as I looked beside me, there they were. Mary, Mabel, Ivy, Ferdinand and Jamiu playing right beside me, right in the heart of Times Square. Children who came from places the world forgets are now standing tall in Times Square and showcasing their talent to the world. They were no longer invisible. It was the reminder I needed that my fight was a different one. So I steadied my trembling hands and made the next move. The game wasn't over yet, neither were we. We made it to the 64th hour. The rest, as they say, is history. Tunde Onakoya and American chess player Sean Martinez are the current world record holders for the longest chess marathon. Tunde Onakoya's work has not gone unnoticed, named among Forbes Africa's 30 under 30, honored by global nonprofits, and partnered with world-class chess organizations. Tunde Onakoya is no longer just a name in Nigeria, he's a symbol. This is a reminder that talent exists everywhere. Today, chess in slums in Africa is expanding. More communities, more partnerships, more lives were touched. But the heart of the mission remains the same. Using chess to unlock the potential of children in underserved communities. In a speech in Germany, Tunde summed it up perfectly. Chess gave me something, an identity, an intellectual one. It made me believe I could be better. That just through this game, I could find my place in the world again. And that's what he's done, not just for himself, but for thousands. In the end, this is more than a story about a boy aboard. It's about strategy, yes, but also sacrifice. It's about queens and kings, but more importantly, about courage. It's about a young man from Ikorodu who chose to play a different kind of game, one where every child he lifts is a victory, every dream revived is a checkmate, and every life changed is the real prize. Chess nourishes the mind and brings new hope, but could it be behind what happened to a legend? One board, one child, one move at a time.